Welcome to State of Wellbeing, a podcast from South Dakota State University. The State of Wellbeing is a holistic well-being podcast with the goal of supporting the campus community as we strive to be a growing, high-performing, and healthy university.
Welcome back to another episode of the State of Wellbeing podcast here at South Dakota State University. My name is Kevin Sackreiter. I am the Executive Director for the Center for Professional Enrichment and Teaching Excellence here at South Dakota State University, and I'm really excited that you're able to join us as we continue our series focused on the Student Success Network and the offices and individuals who support that work and support our overall student success here at South Dakota State. And so today, we're really happy to be able to focus on first-generation college students. And joining us for this conversation is Brenna Rubendall-LaVoy, Professional Academic Advisor here at South Dakota State, and True Thorne, Trio Upward Bound and Student Support Services Academic Coordinator. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having us.
I'm so excited.
I know, all right? So why don't we just jump right in and let's give you each a chance to introduce yourself. Brenna, I started with you, so maybe we'll start over on this side of the studio and let you just share a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, thanks so much. So like Kevin said, I'm Brenna. I work over in the First Year Advising Center, which is part of the Wintroad Student Success and Opportunity Center. Before I took this role, I was a first-generation college student, and I graduated from my undergrad at the University of Minnesota Morris, and then did my master's program here at South Dakota State.
Well, welcome. True, how about you? Want to introduce yourself to our audience?
Well, I have been at SDSU since 2019. I got my undergraduate degree here in history education. I graduated in May of 2023. I was on the track team here. I was in the history club. And also my biggest involvement was Trio Student Support Services. I am a first-generation student and also have a documented disability. Trio is the greatest place on this campus, in my opinion. But anyway, I've been a part of Trio programs since I was 15, and I'm just really passionate about the work I do. I am currently the academic coordinator.
All right. Well, there are 3 first-gen college students sitting around the table today having this conversation. And so within that context of first-generation college students, why don't we talk about the role that each of you and your teams have in supporting the students here at South Dakota State University? Specifically, what does your role look like? What do you do? Who do you specifically focus on supporting? And then maybe as the conversation evolves, we'll talk about services that you're really proud to share about your team. And so, Brenna, why don't we'll come back and let you get us started, but what you do, who you support, and some services that your team provides.
Yeah, it's a great question. So my office is really cool. I mean, I work in the First Year Advising Center, but that's a part of the Wintroad Student Success and Opportunity Center. And I think all of the offices under that umbrella work really collaboratively together, and we do some really neat things. So my role in particular, I'm working predominantly with first-year college students. So students who are, most of them, right out of high school, making that transition into college. And it's a really fun place to be because there's a lot of growth that happens in that first year. And within that population, obviously, we serve a lot of first-gen students. And I think, first-time students, first-gen students have a lot in common in that, just needing some support in figuring out what they're passionate about, what they want to major in, what they want to be someday, what their goals and dreams are, and how the heck you find what that is on a college campus, because there is so much to know. So I feel like my role in particular is really just helping connect students to the resources we have all over campus. Kind of serving as a connecting point and helping figuring out just how you do college.
Right. I want to get back to a piece you mentioned here in a couple minutes, the how the heck do you figure that out piece. But True, why don't we talk a little bit about what you do within Trio as the
academic coordinator.
Academic coordinator, yes. And just, again, services that your office provides.
So, fun fact, I've actually been taught by Brenna in my undergrad and certain classes that I've taken through Trio and Wintroad. So I've known her for a while now, once former student, now colleague. All right. So Trio Student Support Services serves a specific population here on campus. We are, I would say, exclusive in the fact that we only serve 160 students. We serve students that are first gen, so neither of their parents or guardians received a 4-year bachelor's degree, or they have a documented disability, or they are low income. If you have all three, wow, amazing. If you only have one, join us. Being a first-gen student in general, coming to college is a bit of an adjustment, and sometimes our students don't have the guidance of what it means to be a college student at home. And so our program's main goal is to help that transition into higher education. We offer tutoring, many hours of tutoring, I might add. We also offer variety activities. We always make sure that our space is very welcoming to everyone, regardless of their background. And there's always something for someone to do, even if they don't think there is. Anything else I should add?
You guys just have a cool crew of people, probably the most supportive group on campus ever.
Yeah. I would say social media seems to indicate that there's a good time in Trio.
Yes, I would say so. We are a party, a very respectful party, I will add.
Well, I love that. So why don't we get to the how does this happen question that you've kind of hinted at today. So how does your office go about helping connect students to the SDSU community? And maybe that's some of that social piece that we just talked about, but other services that you all provide within your teams.
So, over in first year advising, right, we're meeting one-on-one with students kind of periodically throughout the semester. In a lot of those meetings, I know my team members really try really hard to get to know students as people, not just as students. We really try to take a holistic approach to those conversations. Obviously, we know there might be struggles in your classes and figuring out what's required and understanding expectations that professors set. But there's also so many other elements to being a student at SDSU, whether that's connecting with clubs, getting to know your roommate, finding work on campus, just balancing all of the things that you have both here and at home. So we really try to get to know students as people and connect them to whatever resources we have, which we have a lot at South Dakota State. So.
Right. And then I think that question transitions to Trio and the way that you all go about connecting the students to the SDSU community. As a first gen student, I feel like that was one of the things I really struggled with. I often say I'm not sure back in the 90s if I should have been in college the first year or two that I was here, and I think I pinpoint that to my inability to really make strong connections to this place and to the community. And so how does Trio go about helping students navigate that and building those connections?
So at Trio, we are very lucky. We are a tight-knit group because we only serve 160 students, we have the opportunity and privilege to get to know our students at a much more personal level. Because of that, we are able to, pinpoint and program our activities to specifically fit our population. So we often will partner with groups on campus. So the career development, we're actually doing a whole series right now to help prepare kids for college students for their first career fair. Working on their resume, we took professional headshots. We really make sure that they are dotting all the I's and crossing all the X's, whatever the saying is. We also partner with mental health services here on campus. We do workshops that directly relate to when students are probably in the hardest part of their semester. And also, Fridays, we make sure to bring the fun and the joy and bring new opportunities for our students to learn and connect, because we do have a lot of neurodivergent students. We do have students that come from all different backgrounds. So how do we bring our students together in a way that everyone is comfortable and everyone can feel welcome and have so much fun?
I love that. And so I assume that as you're working with students within your teams, you get the opportunity to identify some what we'll just term as frustration points that students might have as they integrate into this SDSU community, navigate Brookings. just in general. So if you wouldn't mind sharing just a little bit, especially I think this is helpful as students listen to this podcast and are like, you know what, I connect with that. What are some of those frustration points that you feel like specifically first generation students might encounter as they integrate into the community? And then how does your office, your team support students in navigating that? Maybe True, we've started with Brenna a couple times. Let's put you on the spot first with that question.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I talked to some of my colleagues before I came here just to get a greater understanding, because I have my perspective, but I don't directly work with our college kiddos. I'm much more involved with our high school students. So I talked with our advisors in our office, and something that they brought up is finances. Our students are first gen. Some of them are low income, and with changes, they struggle to find finances for school, or they may be able to pay for school, but they struggle to get by day to day. And how do we connect our students with places on campus or job opportunities and such like that? Also, I will say there is a struggle to balance school life with your personal life. These kids are coming to college and it's a whole brand spanking new world, right? And they want to do everything and see everyone. And that can sometimes interfere with their school life. So how do you, as a first gen, low income, or student with a documented disability, find your groove, find like what works best for you? Regarding like what are my study skills? Like some of our kids are coming in and their study skills, like they didn't have to study in high school. So their whole foundation for that is kind of at a bare minimum. So how do we build that up? And we can do workshops. My specialty is working with our students on their time management and their study skills. So they'll meet with me and discuss that, as well as like, are you making the right decisions with your friends? Are you surrounding yourself with people that positively impact your school life as well as your personal life? And really breaking that down with our students. Real quick, one way that we do help prepare our students is at the very beginning with our freshman early move-in. We make sure that our students get the opportunity to explore the SDSU community before they start school. So we will take them to downtown Brookings. We take them on a driving tour. We show them the nature park. And if there's something that they're interested in seeing, we will directly take them to where they need to go. Like I know with one of our students, they were like, I need a fishing spot. Like fishing is my passion. We're going to find them that fishing hole. Oh my gosh, you like archery? Let's take you to the outdoor center or the indoor center. Like, where can we take you to ensure that you can have a holistic opportunity in your college experience?
I love that holistic perspective and just such tremendous opportunities. As you mentioned, study skills. I kind of equate it with not having on-ramps onto the interstate. You're just getting plopped in the middle of traffic. You haven't studied or needed to study, and I don't think the university necessarily has that like, we're going to slowly build your study skills approach. You're plopped into a class and it's going 80 miles an hour down the interstate. So I really appreciated your perspective on sharing that.
Real quick, Brenna, I was going to ask your opinion on some of our freshmen coming in with lots of dual credits. So would you say that like with the tremendous amount of students that are bringing in many dual credit opportunities on their transcripts, would you say that it's like setting them up for success, or is that more like a struggle?
That's a great question, and it's something that I think we talk about professionally a lot. It can definitely be a huge asset. I mean, financially, especially for, people coming from, maybe some lower background families. The money that you save doing dual credit in high school can be life-changing. But also, if you're coming in with tons, that also means you're probably jumping into some more intensive major-related coursework earlier on. And if your high school maybe didn't prep you with those study skills and strategies as well as they should have, that can be quite the adjustment. So definitely pros and cons to that. I think just the other piece of that is, high schools do a great job sometimes of providing these opportunities to some students, and then other students maybe don't get as many opportunities. So we're seeing a very broad range of experiences. And so as support staff, we're trying our best to meet students where they're at, regardless of what they're coming in with. and trying to help students also, regardless of what situation they're coming in with, know how to ask appropriate questions, learning those skills for I maybe don't know what questions to ask, but I know I need help in something. And so that's something that I think our office tries really, really hard to do, is just building those critical thinking, but also good question skills to get the support that you need, regardless of where you're at.
I love that you asked that question. I think there's a great dual credit discussion to be had about the impact there. And so I really appreciate taking a little time. I don't want to skip over the professional academic advisor perspective on frustration. However, if we just quickly circle back, are there some frustrations? I think True did a really good job of outlining some of those, but are there some frustrations that you want to make sure that you have the opportunity to just share that you perceive our students might bring as first-gen college students?
Yeah, absolutely. I would echo pretty much everything True said. I think the other thing that we see a lot, with first-gen, and honestly, most students are asking these questions too, but there's a lot of hidden curriculum in higher education. And so just understanding expectations and processes and how all the offices and people on a college campus kind of are interconnected and work together, but also maybe don't work together. And so I think sometimes the frustration is like, well, who do I go to with this question? Or I didn't even know this was a problem. Or who can I go to for help? And why do I have to go to this office and then to this office? Why don't these two things work together? And so I feel like a lot of the frustration comes from, in high school, it was very structured. You were told exactly what you needed to do, where you needed to be. And now in college, you're on your own to figure out everything. And so I think a big thing that we try to help with is easing those frustrations in okay, well, this is how this office is connected to this office, or this is what your professor's probably going to be expecting from you here. Let's take a look at your syllabi and see how you can better anticipate what's going to be coming in the future with this class. So we try to do a lot of uncovering and just connecting the dots for people.
Right. Well, the reason I want to always focus on these frustrations is I think it leads into a really interesting conversation about well-being. And I think these frustrations can impact any individual's well-being, but especially our students as they're navigating a really new experience. And so as part of the well-being team, we like to center this discussion on physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And I'm just curious what kinds of things your teams do to support the emotional, mental, and physical well-being of first-generation college students as they're navigating their experience here at South Dakota State. And so, Brenna, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, the cool thing about our office is that there's a lot under that Wintrode umbrella. We have First Year Advising Center, the Opportunity Center, Academic Success and Recovery Program, SI and tutoring programs, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, so sorry, guys, if I forgot anybody. But I think the cool thing is each of those programs under our center do a lot of different opportunities. Some things that I can think of off the top of my head, right, is that we have drop-in hours, so you don't have to schedule an appointment with an advisor. You can just stop by our center with literally any question you have, and even if we don't have the answer, odds are we can get you connected to somebody who does. Our office also offers success advising, so we can connect you with a staff member in our office if, maybe it's not a class-related question, but it's like, how do I manage my time? How do I study? Why are my flashcards and Quizlets not really preparing me for my exams? So we have success advisors we can connect you to that help with that. And also lately we've been offering accountability groups. So just the opportunity to connect with other like-minded students who just want to stay on top of all the things that get thrown at them, but also finding that community with students and just connecting with other people who are in a similar situation. So I know I'm forgetting a lot, but each of our offices does a ton of stuff, and I'm really excited about all the things that we offer.
No, I think that was really good. That was really informative and helpful. And so I appreciate you sharing all of those different opportunities. True, I would assume that within TRIO, student well-being is one of those priority discussions. And so just to kind of throw that your direction and let you run with it a little bit, but talk about some of the mental, physical, emotional well-being, not conversations, but services that TRIO might be able to help provide.
So with TRIO, we have the unique opportunity to really cater to what our students ask us for. While we can direct them to the WELI, the Wellness Center, We also provide in-house yoga. We do a dance class in space. We also make sure that our Friday programs are super fun, crafty, or we are just eating lots of food, building community. Our foundation for mental well-being is building our community, as well as we will do partnerships where we'll bring in outside groups on campus that might be able to provide a different perspective for our students or different opportunities. Our students themselves take the opportunity and step up, and they're like, hey, this is what I'm struggling with, and I know that my other fellow TRIO members are struggling with this. Can we do something with this? And we will make sure that they get the opportunity to do a workshop or a small group. Today, I'm pretty sure we are doing walking tacos and happy life, happy sleep, where we have someone coming in talking to us about sleep hygiene and how that impacts you overall as a person and as a student. We just make sure that if there's something that our students are impacted by or are interested in, that we can direct them to someone or make the opportunity ourselves.
Sure. So I should have asked this question at the beginning, and it specifically relates to TRIO, but you mentioned having 160 students. Is that 160 students overall? Is it 160 freshmen, 160? What is the makeup of the student population that TRIO works with? What does that look like? All right.
So with TRIO, it is 160 students total. Okay. We heavily recruit the freshman class coming in. We have about 60 students graduating from each class. So if we have 60 seniors graduating, we will bring in 60 freshmen. Or there might be freshmen right now going into their sophomore year that are like, I had no idea this place existed. Is there any way I can join? And we make space. That's the thing. We have the flexibility and the funding because we are federally funded. So we have a lot of flexibility with that to where if there is a sophomore that comes in and we might be at full capacity, we can kind of work with the system a little bit. But we try to mostly recruit freshmen and sophomores. Juniors and seniors, they've already been in the game long enough that they have found the resources that they need. That doesn't mean that we're going to deny them. We will direct them and help them in the best way we can, but we definitely prefer to get them their first year of college or their second year of college because that's where all the foundation needs to be built.
Right. No, I appreciate you just pausing our conversation. I felt like we missed a piece of information there, so it was good to have that. So if I'm not a student and I'm just a member of the SDSU community, a faculty member, a staff member, maybe students not within your team's impact area, how can I engage and support first-generation college students here at South Dakota State? Yeah,
I would say first and foremost, just ask about it. Just talk about it. I think if you are first-gen, sharing that with students right off the bat automatically kind of fosters some community there too. I think it's something we don't talk about enough, and it's something that, as a first-generation student myself, I'm very proud of, and I think everybody should be very proud of. And that's not to single out or push away students who aren't first-gen, but it's truly just, it should be a point of pride, and it should be something that we're excited to share. So I think the more we talk about it, the more we bring awareness to it, the more, the easier it is to have conversations and to really make a difference and make some positive change. So I think if you feel comfortable disclosing that, share that with students in your syllabus. Talk about it on the first day of class. Open your door to questions. I tell my students all the time, I was a first generation student, so absolutely no question is a silly question. It's a complicated place to be, and I think when you open that door, there's so much great conversation that comes from that.
I love the syllabus suggestion, putting that in there as part of that introduction to you as the faculty member. How about with TRIO? What are some ways that the community can support your work?
Oh my gosh. So something that comes to my head is we will do workshops. If you reach out to us and you're like, oh my gosh, I really want to work with your population, first gen, low income, students with documented disabilities, that is our passion. How can we best serve you? And that is how we've made a lot of great connections on campus, as well as like we'll reach out to groups or we'll do partnerships with other groups on campus to be like, we have a lot of students that are interconnected with each other. And so we will do partnerships with them. Like at the beginning of the year, we did a picnic where everybody came together and it was just a really fun time. Right. Just reach out and, what's the worst that we could say? Not right now. There's always an opportunity.
I love that. So as we're getting near the end of our time and as we wrap up, I always like to give my guests the opportunity to share any upcoming programming or opportunities that they want to make sure they share with our audience and with the students of South Dakota State University. And so True looks like she's thinking right now. So Brenna, maybe we'll start with you and let you kind of start with that question.
Absolutely. So kind of throughout the school year, we have some really great grad students in our office who put together a series of workshops. And their next one coming up is called Coping in Color. It's on February 26th from 6:30 to 7:30, I believe, in Rotunda. I forget which room, though. I'm so sorry. But there will be posters and flyers around. We'll send lots of emails out about it. But it's really just learning coping skills for how to manage your stress. And I think, some of those include things like coloring and doing some more artistic kind of things, and lots of other skills they'll talk about there. This isn't necessarily coming up soon, but on the First Gen note, I just want to point out every November we celebrate National First Generation Student Day. So once November rolls around, we have the First Gen celebration in the Union. So definitely keep your eyes open for that opportunity as well.
Well, and thank you for sharing that. And I will tell our audience that I apologize if you're listening to this and it's after that February opportunity, but it sounds like there are other opportunities that come up periodically throughout the year that would just keep your antenna up and you'll find out about.
Absolutely. All the time. And your advisors will probably be emailing you with more info too.
Right. Awesome. And so True, how about from the TRIO perspective?
TRIO students, if you're listening, remember that we have Valentine's Day Spa Day this Friday. We'll have a spa day. We'll make cards. It's all about that Valentine's Day. Also, I think Trio Day is coming around. It's like right around the corner. I can't remember the day, but just know that Trio Day is coming. Specifically day, I don't know.
Well, and kind of as we were saying with Brenna, lots of programming opportunities. Yeah. Keep the antenna up and you'll know that they're coming and engage and participate. And if you're not a TRIO student or a First Gen student, I think there's lots of opportunities to support the teams and to support the first generation college student population here at South Dakota State. And so, Brenna, True, I want to thank you for joining us today, for having what I think is a really important conversation, kind of a personal conversation, it sounds like, for all three of us. And so to those of you listening, thank you once again for tuning in to our series supporting the Student Success Network here at South Dakota State University. And as you navigate the rest of your spring semester, we wish you nothing but the best of luck with your experience here at SDSU. And so once again, thank you for joining the State of Wellbeing podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of State of Wellbeing, a podcast from South Dakota State University. This podcast is brought to you by the Mental Wellbeing Team and SD State Health.